doozy of a Tuesday.
What's that?
I said the extra time. I said I need an extra 10 minutes. When I said maybe 10 minutes, I had to drop the kids off.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Let them swim. Let them swim.
Well, we could talk a little Gilbert Godfrey too, but that's not wrestling related. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Not that being not wrestling related has ever stopped us before.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3. Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR today for Wednesday morning, April 13th, 2022. The man they call Meathead, and the M.O.T.S, the Matthew of Ticket Security. That's your new name, Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Hey, good morning. And if anybody in this upcoming summer concert event season needs their ticket secured or needs to make sure that their tickets are being held very tightly, I'll be happy to oblige.
Well, I mean, that's kind of your gimmick now. You're the M.O.T.S, the M.O.T.S.
I do what I can. I do what I can, whether it's like an actual hard copy of a ticket or whether it's
hard copy, like that news show from the 90s.
Yeah. I was always more of a hard copy fan than Inside Edition, though.
Was Inside Edition or hard copy the Bill O'Reilly one?
Oh, I think that was Inside Edition, wasn't it?
Yeah, because remember, Bill O'Reilly is a legend here at the PWR.
Yeah, he wanted to do it live, was what I heard.
Yeah, I'll do it live.
And no, you were a big fan of the John Tesh run of Entertainment Tonight, correct?
Yeah, John Tesh. Oh my God, John Tesh. I mean, you talk about an idol. He wrote the NBA on NBC theme song as well.
Yeah. Now, was he in Shenanigans? I can't remember.
John Tesh, I might have put a bracelet on him. I don't remember. He might have been a general admission, not a VIP.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what we should have done is made VIPs out of everybody wearing our favorite
collar and elbow
t-shirt.
brand. That's right. That's right. If you wear collar and elbow brand, you're going to get VIP. You're going to get a table. You're probably going to get a special spot in the back room. collarandelbowbrand.com to browse all the latest spring fashions. Enter promo code LINDAKAY, LINDA. Wait a minute, LINDAKAY. Is that right?
That's the way she spells her name.
It didn't flow tonight for some reason. I don't know. But
anyway, Progressive will help you with that later on. But go ahead.
Save 10%, whether you're John Tesh or not John Tesh.
John Tesh is getting 10% off right away just for being John Tesh. All right, John Tesh, Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead. Let us talk about a couple things here first. One, I want to bring up something that Linda and I brought up yesterday, and I feel it's worth digging into. Did you know that we've been sending Veer all this time, but Veer has already had a Disney movie made about him?
I mean, what more can you say? I mean, when you've had a Disney movie made about your life, I mean, that's a very, very select group of people.
Yeah, but I don't think there was anything in that movie about tape on his forehead.
Yeah, well, that's kind of something he, I guess maybe when he was in production or something, he got a good deal on some tape, and he's like, I'll get around to using this a little bit later.
Did you notice it, that it was tape and not paint?
I noticed it after you mentioned it on the show.
Yeah, and you went back, you're like, yep, that's tape. Mm-hmm. It looked like a stencil, right?
Hey, but you know what? We're in an era where the championship belts make a nice little Velcro sound, so nothing surprises me.
You know what? I almost long for the day where the championship belt was a spinner.
You know what? It's I will take a belt that spins but doesn't have Velcro. How about that?
Yep, you sound like George Costanza's father, Frank Costanza. Was not a big fan of Velcro. No, or was that Morty Seinfeld? I think Morty Seinfeld didn't like Velcro.
Yeah, I mean it's been a while since I've utilized some Velcro. Although I don't in my adult life, I don't like tying shoes. Now that doesn't mean I have Velcro shoes. I just like shoes.
You just got slip-ons.
Yeah.
You're just lazy and don't want to bend over and do it. Yeah. That's all it is.
And what it is, like I don't put a ton of effort into the initial tie of the shoe, and then it comes untied, and then I have to tie it again, and it's just aggravating. You probably saw my shoe come untied a couple times in Dallas.
Matter of fact, I think I mentioned it to a librarian. I said, I think his shoe's untied.
Yeah. At half the time, it's like, I'm just I'm not going to give it, it's like.
That's why you wear slip-ons, my friend. That's why you wear slip-ons. All right. Enough about Skechers. Enough about Disney movies. Enough about cashews that aren't salted in caramel corn. I mean, but still amazing corn, by the way. Let's talk a little bit of wrestling. Now, real quick, I do want to mention Rey Mysterio not available on Monday Night Raw against the aforementioned Veer. So it was Dominick instead. Rey out with an injury for a little bit there. And does it look like Dominick possibly was written off too?
Yeah. He went bye-bye for a little while. Well, you think maybe it was Ray's eye that he had like ripped out about 2 years ago? You think maybe that was an issue?
Do you think Rey really got that put back in?
It's hard to tell.
Yikes. I mean, because remember, Rey had that little configuration on his mask where he had a Velcro patch on top of his mask for the eye. So.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I mean, Dominick not there. We don't really have a ton of wrestling news, but I'd love to get into NXT from last night. And the show starting off with them in ring, the North American Championship, Solo Sikoa taking on Cameron Grimes. Now, Matthew, my first really observation from this match, and I asked you this before we went on an air, and you kind of noticed it as well. That crowd was not pro Cameron Grimes. They were all over Solo.
Yeah, and they were more vocal last night than I've heard them in a while. This show, I don't know if it's your take on it or not. We haven't discussed this, but the show last night reminded me a little bit more of the original NXT as far as the crowd goes. We had a very opinionated and vocal crowd last night. And they started off the show by making their opinion known that they were not in the camp of one Cameron Grimes and, not doing anything heelish. I mean, he was his normal Cameron Grimes character, although I got to tell you, man, they have gone from not wanting to operate outside of the NXT universe, no acknowledgement of Braun Breaker's father, to having Braun Breaker's father in a cage, and in this opening match, basically alluding to the bloodline multiple times. So a very distinct 180 that NXT's actually done, kind of having that exist within the confines of the rest of the WWE universe and, within the confines of WWE history.
Again, mentioning that Solo Sikoa, part of the bloodline, is a big deal. Now, if he were to come up to the main roster, he might get his name changed and they might just forget it again.
Yeah, no, it's very possible. So that not that. Okay, so what we're learning is NXT acknowledges the rest of the WWE universe, but that doesn't mean the main roster acknowledges NXT.
Right, unless it's Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll be back up, and then Tommaso, and then Braun being on Raw. Because isn't that where he won his belt back? Was on Raw.
Yeah, to me, that one 3-day spell, or no, really 5 days when you consider SmackDown. We had Ziggler retain on the actual pay-per-view, NXT pay-per-view on Saturday afternoon. Then we had him drop the title to Breaker on Raw. So the NXT title actually changes hand on Raw. Then we had Gunther. Remember, Gunther beat LA Knight at the pay-per-view. Then he lost to Braun Breaker on NXT. Then he was called up last Friday on SmackDown.
It's confusing times, my friend. Very confusing times. Well, this North American title match is Solo taking on Cameron Grimes. A little interference by Trick Williams and distraction. Cameron Grimes retains. Carmelo Hayes comes out and goes after Cameron Grimes, and I like this look for NXT when they put Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett, in front of their announce table, and they still had Carmelo Hayes in the ring, and he kind of posed in front of the camera there. I actually enjoyed that look. It felt very NFL-ish to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
So the best that we were going to get, because of the news that popped over the last week of one of the members of MSK being quickly released due to physical abuse allegations, the titles were vacated over the weekend. Matthew, the titles vacated over the weekend. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yep, that was in. Was there ever any further explanation? Any injury angle?
That's the line. Titles were vacated over the weekend.
Which it just kind of sounds like they just the former tag team champions just walked away. It's like, I don't want these things anymore, and just left them.
And they will never mention their names, even though only one of them got released. The other one, where does he go? What does he do?
Very, very unfortunate for him. And I mean, however he is repackaged, I mean, again, I think it's a complete repackage. There's no further acknowledgement of the tag team he was in, because then you'd have to acknowledge the other guy.
Right. There's a lot of acknowledging going on with Roman Reigns here. Remember, they don't acknowledge NXT, but NXT acknowledges them.
Very true.
So, the winner of the match and still NXT North American Champion, that's going to be Cameron Grimes. They announced a gauntlet match with the tag teams they will crown a new tag team champion last night, and they did, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Braun Breaker comes out, brings up the induction of his father. Remember, he's acknowledging it now. There we go again with that acknowledging that Rick Steiner is his father. And we get a video or a live feed from Joe Gacy saying he wanted to send a message and get his attention, and now he's got it. He took his Hall of Fame ring, put it into the fire, and later on, Matthew's going to put it back on. That didn't happen on the grassy knoll. That's not something I saw.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, you and I probably got really lucky that we didn't get abducted on the grassy knoll, because this was just a few days prior to him doing all of his abduction. If he was in abducting mode, man, we were actually at the grassy knoll at a time when there really weren't that many other people. Like, as a matter of fact, like, it was us and then Gacy and Harlan. That was pretty much it.
Well, us and the guy with the autopsy pictures.
Oh, yeah, the guy with the autopsy pictures, and then the other guy there. But well, you know what? We probably actually pretty lucky we didn't get abducted by the autopsy picture guy, now that I think about it.
And the guy picking his nose on the street.
Now, hey, if you go back and you watch the Gacy video from the grassy knoll, the guy picking his nose is in the video.
What?
Yeah, he's in the video in the far left-hand corner of the screen.
That's amazing. So, folks, what Matthew's alluding to is when they filmed that particular segment, actually Matthew Thomas, myself, and a librarian to be named later were walking around the grassy knoll in the background of that shot as well. So,
yes, indeed.
All right. So Joe Gacy is going to be, it looks like, Braun Breaker's next opponent. How are you feeling about Joe Gacy going for the title?
I am excited to see it. I wish I had a little bit more hope that Gacy would actually win the title.
I need a little bit more build.
Yeah, a build would be nice too. But here's the thing. It's getting Gacy mic time, and it's actually putting Gacy at the forefront of it, because we had seen Gacy in the last couple of months just more or less be the mouthpiece for Harlan and not get a ton of – I think Gacy is something special. This is a very, very – I mean, his character is the most interested in a character I am interested in NXT 2.0, and I'm glad that he gets a main event storyline. Again, I don't think he has not been built up as a serious competitor, but it's screen time and it's entertainment.
Yeah, there's no build there whatsoever. Just out of nowhere, this guy that's been kind of whispering in the ear of Harlan is now going for the NXT title.
Well, I mean, that's how you get a title shot, is you kidnap somebody's father.
Well, that's really it. Yeah, and do videos on the grassy knoll. So, Braun Breaker pacing back and forth backstage, and he's not having what Joe Gacy is doing. Jack at times, Kushida and Ikemen Hero walking backstage, and they're attacked by Von Wagner. Now, Robert Stone took Von Wagner to the ring, says, you know what, Jack at time really had no chance to be seen again because of what Von Wagner just did. But we did get Ikemen Hero making his way to the ring and made a singles match. But come on, you know damn well Von Wagner was going to roll right over him.
Yeah, was glad to see him at least get out to the ring. I gotta say, after tonight, Jacket Time might only be my second favorite tag team in NXT 2.0. There is a new tag team on the NXT 2.0 front that has caught the eye of Matthew Thomas.
Wow, look at you. So Jacket Time's your team, huh?
Oh, they were, but we'll get to this a little bit later. But there's also a new tag team on the horizon that's got some very interesting style choices.
I gotcha. And I already smell what you're cooking. I'm picking up what you're laying down. All right. Let's talk about the NXT Women's Title match. Dakota Kai and Mandy Rose. Toxic Attraction. They lost their tag team titles at Stand and Deliver pre-show to Raquel Gonzalez. No relation to Raquel, Rodriguez and Dakota Kai. And then won the titles back an hour later at the pay-per-view. Well, now it's Dakota Kai taking on Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, this was one of 3 title matches on NXT last night, so had nice center billing, and it was. I don't think this was any real danger of the title changing hands, but it was a good match to see.
After the match, Mandy Rose standing tall with Gigi Dolan and Jane as the music hits. They come back, and it's Wendy Chu suddenly appearing on the apron with a pair of super soakers. Matthew, adult Meathead, because I was too old when they first came out, so like 18, 19-year-old Meathead. Adult Meathead loved him a super soaker.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I had a knockoff Super Soaker. I never had like an official Super
Oh,
Soaker.
I had the brand name Super Soaker because I was the one that was paying for it. So, and that was back in the days of cruising still. Again, I'm probably showing my age here, but we had a couple areas that used to cruise Highway 100. There was Whitnell Park, and everybody be lined up. You take out your best car, and you always roll it with your guys. So you never go more than 2. If you're gonna go 4, then you find another group that's 4. But really, you should go 1 driver, 1 passenger. And my job as the passenger was just drive by and hit people with the Super Soaker.
Cruising talk with the man they call Meathead.
That's right.
Brought to you by PWR Today.
back in the 50s when we got our hamburgers put on trays on the outside of our cars.
Meathead goes for a cruise.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was in the movie American Graffiti. That was the premise for Happy Days. So,
yeah.
All right. So again, we get back to Gacy at his barrel fire, and then he has the ring in there, and he literally takes it out and puts it on his finger. Oh, you could hear the skin sizzling as he puts the ring to the end of his hand, and the segment continues, and gross.
So through the duration of this feud, we either need to see that ring is on there and he can't get the ring off, or the ring is not on there.
Well, I mean, he's got to buy a dinner or something first.
Yeah, he's got some type of burn or something on there.
And I mean, if you're going to do anything, why would you have just the hot metal on your skin? Why wouldn't you embrace the WWE logo on your skin and do the other side and melt it into your skin?
So here's what I want to see. I want to see, basically they have a match. Stipulation of the match is Rick's Hall of Fame ring, okay? And basically Breaker's going to win, of course. But right before he turns over the ring, Gacy swallows the ring. Then for the next, week or so, we got to have this angle of Gacy passing the ring.
Oh boy, you've been watching Scrubs too much. All right, let's go to Cora Jade in the ring. She gives not a bad promo. I think I need to hear more volume from her when she's talking, but it's not bad. She's delivering her words, and she runs off the names and lists them off and of people that she's looked up to. And then Natalia's music hit. She was one of the names that were mentioned in the list. I didn't like the fact that Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett were like, boy, it's been forever since she's been here. When was she there?
I was wondering the same thing, man.
Natalya may have worked at the Performance Center with the other women, but Natalya was not a part of NXT. She came into the Divas division before there was an NXT.
You know what I was thinking about? Was one of the early NXT matches. You're right, was Charlotte in Natalya, but Natalya was a main roster star at that point.
Right.
Natalya had come because I was thinking, when was she there? It's got to be early NXT, but no, she was there as a WWE main roster talent.
Right, exactly. So, yes, she's been there, but it's not like, she grew up and she, got her comeuppance there and, whatever. But she was about to cry, she said. I mean, she's, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then the heel turn. Your thoughts?
Loved it. It was good to see Natalya get the credit and the reception that she's due. You could really hear it last night with it being a smaller audience, but it was
The future is bleak.
yeah, it was a very appreciative audience. And unfortunately, Natalya in most instances in front of a major, whether it be Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-view crowd, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. She's not featured in a main storyline. She's typically in a tag team or something or in a comedy segment. So you very rarely get to see an audience like that that is that invested and is that expresses their appreciation like that. So I was really happy to see it for Natalya and also really intrigued by where they were going with the angle.
Okay. So she could be the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division now.
That was exactly what it reminded me of.
Okay. All right. So Draco Anthony taking on Zaya Quinn. And looks like Zaya Quinn got the win on that one. Draco got back up and then got leveled with the right hand. Quinn hit what was it, a running forearm, I think he had for the pin for the win? Yeah. Natalya stopping in the women's locker room. That wasn't a locker room. That was catering. That was a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kitchen. That's catering. But, one of the girls stepped up and said, "Hey, I'm challenging you." So, that's Tatum Paxley. And, they had a kind of an awkward interaction, but the boat is now here in NXT. So that means we're probably getting Natalya for weeks to come now.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm okay with it.
It'll be fun to watch. And I like this formula that they're doing right now of somebody going down there for a little while.
And then you know what that does? It doesn't hurt Natalya at all. It doesn't hurt the main roster star. What it does do is it gives the rub to the younger talent. Yeah. It's like putting the veteran with the rookie. So no, it's perfect.
Without that, and I think in the case with Ziggler and in the case with Natalya too, it's a little bit more of a spotlight that's shining on that talent, and their pop is going to be much bigger in that NXT arena because hey, it's a main roster person they've got some familiarity with. They're happy to see, and you're going to hear it more in that arena.
Mm-hmm. So what they're also doing is having main roster viewers watch NXT because they find out that Natalya's on there, but then they won't acknowledge them. Sorry. Yeah. Never mind. Let's continue on with the main event, the gauntlet match for the vacant NXT tag team titles. The Creed brothers, Pretty Deadly, Legado del Fantasma, Briggs and Jensen, and Grayson Waller and Senga. Grayson Waller's in a damn sling, but he figured Senga could just blow through people. Really, this match made 2 stars. It continued to build the starter of the Creed brothers, and it made the Pretty Deadly team, who are the winners and new NXT Tag Team Champions, big stars as well. Matthew, I got a feeling your Matthew Thomas tag team to watch in 2022 is Pretty Deadly.
Oh, yes. Did you see what they're wearing?
I wear that on Tuesdays. That's what I wear.
That's fantastic. One of the best ensembles of wrestling clothing. Man, if Collar and Elbow starts selling those tops, I will be all over that. But no, you're right.
You know where I've seen that top before? Have you ever seen the movie School of Rock?
Don't
Jack Black.
I know of it. But.
Yeah, where he plays with the kids. The rocker dude at the end had that exact same top but leather.
Oh. That's fantastic. But no, I mean, you're right. That is a benefit of a gauntlet match. Now, where a gauntlet match doesn't make sense is whoever's booking it, okay? Because it's luck of the draw. It's just kind of a crapshoot here or there. But as we saw some weeks ago with Rhea Ripley on Raw, when she went close to 40-some minutes or whatever the in-ring time was, you can really make somebody that doesn't necessarily win it. And whether it be the Creed brothers or whether it be the Rhea Ripley spot, from a psychological standpoint, it does make sense that they would actually not outlast everybody and win it. So, you're exactly right. Last night, you had the fan favorites in the Creed brothers who I thought they had it. I thought especially after multiple false finishes there towards the end, they had it. But you also have new tag team champions now in somebody that just instantaneously got heat because of the number they drew. And I think that
the clothes that they wore.
Yeah. I think it was a really wise decision to bring them in like that because, hey, you're shooting them right to the top. But hey, we don't have to really do anything or have them do anything very low down. It's like, hey, these guys are not going to get that appreciation from the fans because they drew, number 5 came out and they were the ones who put out this team that had outlasted everybody in this match.
Right. And you know who's really a star on the rise too, but he's been there the whole time, is Malcolm Bivens.
Yeah.
Did you watch his
Mm-hmm.
expressions? Did you watch all the facial stuff that he was doing? That guy is a star.
Just cut to him. I mean, it's of a different mold, but the during match expressions they're very Paul Heyman like.
Yeah, I'm really grown a liking to him as far as wrestling talent. So Matthew, that was NXT. We got new tag team champions. The NXT champion retained and the women's champion retained. Tonight, we've got Dynamite. And folks, this Friday, Rampage will be live. They are not taping Dynamite or Rampage tonight. Rampage will be live this Friday with a special 1 hour earlier start time. This coming Friday on Rampage, it's Texas Death Match again. Hangman Adam Page is taking on Adam Cole, baby.
Adam versus Adam.
Right. I mean, as long as it's not Adam and Adam, taking on, say, Daniel and Daniel, or, Page and Cage versus Cage and Page.
Yeah, it could get a little confusing.
All right, Matthew. Well, thank you. The M.O.T.S. We will talk to you again tomorrow, and we'll review everything Dynamite as well. Folks, make sure you're also stopping by, liking and subscribing. YouTube, Facebook. The man they call Meathead's on Instagram now, Matthew. I don't know if I ever told you that. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on the Twitter machine. I'm on the Instagram now, the IG.
We talked about that. I'm supposed to give you a Instagram. What do you do? Do you follow? Do you request friendship? What do you do there?
I ask for donations. No, I think it's a follow or a like or something. It's the man they call Meathead on Instagram. Also, don't forget the man they call Meathead on Facebook as well out there. And then we got the Twitter, which is at WCW Meathead. I might have to change it to the man they call Meat on Twitter as well. We'll have to see.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
I'm needing one of those blue verified checks next.
Yeah, I wonder what you got to do to verify that you're you.
Well,
you know what I think you have to do? I think you have to show them your library card.
There you go. Hey, speaking of library cards and speaking of Linda, we are working on the PWR Fantasy Draft. We're already ignoring the fact that you won last year's, and we're talking about next year's. But this year's draft, we're going to try to get this in before the WWE's WrestleMania Backlash, and I believe that's the first Sunday of the month of May, correct? Isn't that like May 1st? Yeah.
I think it's depending on when. I think it's like the 8th or something, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the 1st or the 8th, whatever it is. But we've got about 3 weeks before we got to get that draft. And I'm already concocting a new strategy, and we're talking out rules. We're talking to the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howell, because there was way too much work for the accounting firm with all the pickups and the drops, and the Twitter feeds, and the cameo videos and all that other stuff. So we are working on it. So PWR draft, the 22/23 season is coming soon right here at PWR Live. So for Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.